Another big title update means another big change up to sliders. Again, I can't explain what exactly has changed or what has been broken, but the game definitely feels different over the last day or two. So I'm going to be giving you guys my sliders and also showing you guys the kind of setup I do for franchises, maybe even go into the rebuild aspect. So if this guide is helpful to you and you guys want to see more of these in the future, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We will have some more videos later today, so check those out. Regardless, these are the sliders I play on. I do like a little bit more of a challenging experience, so there is going to be some of you guys that are like, what are you doing? That is way too difficult. There's going to be some of you guys that are like, bro, this is not hard at all. So take it with a grain of salt. I like my games, even if they're slightly unrealistic, to be a challenge most of the time. Of course, looking at the basic game options, we will also have some gameplay with these sliders later on in the video right at the end, so check that out if you want. But we do, of course, have it on all Madden Simulation. Sometimes I switch between simulation and competitive, only because I feel like the sliders don't always save, even when you apply them from the main menu to your franchise. So sometimes I play on competitive a game, I go back to sim, and for some reason it becomes harder, it becomes more realistic in that sense. So I don't know if that's actually true or not. I play on 8-minute quarters because with 8-minute quarters and 20-second minimum play clock time, you're looking at about a 30 to 35 minute experience, which I think is kind of where you want a franchise game. I don't really want to be in an hour-long game. There's 17 games a season, not including practicing, not including the playoffs. The games kind of take a little bit of time. Of course, coin toss, do whatever you want. Multimeter, I think this is one of the better changes they made over the last two Maddens. I mean, it was in last Madden, that it actually does feel a little bit harder to kick. The classic meter was just guaranteed easy kicks every single time. Passing mechanics, honestly, if you want to have the most slider-based / quarterback-based ratings situation, you probably want to go on classic passing, but most of us are kind of changed and used to these placement and accuracy kind of sliders. I play placement and accuracy. I think it's pretty damn good while you still have a chance to miss. But again, I think classic passing, if you want a truly sim experience, is probably your best bet. I just have it on 7, reticle speed, all that stuff. We do have some other changes in here. This, you don't really need, I would turn that off. And I keep Ball Hawk on, but I keep Heat Seeker off because it makes it where it's a bit harder to tackle. Although you can maybe make the argument that even though you get juked more, at least you don't get, ran past. So that's what I do. The big thing here is some of these sliders. Fatigue I dropped down to. Speed parity, you could probably drop it all the way down to 5 or put it up 5. To me, though, I don't like when Madden is basically all speed. You get a guy like DK Metcalf, Christian Watson, Brian Thomas, all these really fast guys. Straight line, go route. If it's one-on-one, it's always a touchdown. So I would probably drop this a little bit. But then again, if you have a player that isn't fast as hell, then they don't get open. So I don't touch it too much. Slip scale, I do change this one a bit. The slips, especially in the snow, are a bit ridiculous. You'll slip 20 times in a game, which I get it is slippery, but it's also just not a fun experience. Everything else I pretty much keep on base. And then, these are what we have for all of this. I actually think wear and tear is not too bad if you're subbing out players. So it actually feels more realistic than ever with having to use the wear and tear situation. I do love the college football click up on the D-pad change where you can literally just sub in and out anytime you want instead of having to go into formations. That was one of the biggest quality of updates, of life updates for Madden, and it's awesome. I'm glad they have that. For our penalties, I have noticed more penalties than ever, but I do like that. I think, one of my games recently, you'll see later today if you're interested in Panthers franchise, we had 7 holding penalties between the two teams. That's a pretty common situation, right? The NFL, there's a good amount of penalties. So offside at 55, false start 50, offensive hold at 55. Face mask I almost never see, so you might want to bump that, but personally, I don't really care too much about penalties. I don't want the penalties to be too frequent either, but these are kind of what we have. I do have defensive pass interference down 5 because I believe this does affect the coverage. If you put this at 100, the defense, the AI is going to be very, very relaxed. They're not going to get too aggressive because they don't want to get that penalty. So it doesn't just affect how often it's called, but it actually affects how the defense plays, right? And a lot of times in the past, you actually wanted to turn intentional grounding off because the AI actually wouldn't throw the ball away. So I have that on this year because I think from what I've seen the AI throw the ball away And honestly, they don't even get intentional grounding calls, which is crazy. But you might have to turn that off if you're not seeing the AI throw it away and they're just taking stupid sacks. But, of course, enough of that yap. The skill sliders, which is what you're probably here for. Personally, I like to have the QB accuracy a little bit down. You'll see a little bit later, I used Rodgers, and for the most part, he was hitting most of the throws. And I think that's fair with 36 for a QB accuracy. Pass blocking, 32, but again, it's going to vary. If you have one of the worst teams in the game, you might want to bump these a little bit. But for the most part, this is what I've been using all year long. We have wide receiver catching at 45 because I still feel like we catch almost everything, and our guys are nowhere near 99s. And then, of course, rushing, I feel like running the ball on 50 is way too easy, and I feel like the AI, even with 100 run block sliders, just can't run the ball. Ball security at 45, because I still don't really fumble that much, but at least it happens. And then the reaction times, this is where it's going to fluctuate so much. But for me, if I put these on base, we cover everything perfectly. At this point, 27, 48, 18, as also the lower the interception versus the higher the interception, the better coverage they do get as well. This is what we have, 27, 48, 18. Had a pretty good amount of success with this, where the AI is throwing well, but they're not really dominating. Tackling at 45 because you can tackle pretty much everything. And in the NFL these days, seems like one-on-one tackles are not, I wouldn't say rare, but most of the time you're going to see one or two broken tackles every single play. I don't change the special teams because I think using special teams is very easy. Then we move on to the CPU sliders, where, of course, QB accuracy is going to be bumped a little bit as I want the AI to actually hit throws. I want it to be challenging. I know there's some people that have it all the way down to like 25, 30, 35, 40. I like it to the 10, 5. I like it at 53. Pass blocking 53 as well. I think it depends on what your pass rush unit is, though. If you have like nobody even close to like an 85, you're going to want to drop this to probably 48. But for me, I usually have a team with an 85 plus overall pass rusher. 53 is good. Still get around 1 or 2 double-digit sackers by the end of the year. Wide receiver catching at 54. I still see them drop the ball a lot because the throws sometimes just come in there late and you get a handle on it. Again, run blocking, I can't get the AI to run the ball. I don't know if my game's glitch. I can't get him to run the ball. I just simply can't. So 100 for that. Ball security, I think this one could probably come down, but at the same time, it's kind of easy to line up a hit stick against the CPU. So if you put that a little bit too low, you're going to be able to force too many fumbles, in my opinion. Reaction time, 67. Interceptions 53. Once again, I want them to have a better chance to not just intercept the ball, because that's the downside of this, is they will intercept the ball almost every time it hits their hands, but I want them to be more aggressive. It's not, it says it's just for, their chances of catching the ball, but it also is aggressiveness. It affects the aggressiveness of the AI. Not sure why that is the case, but that has been proven many, many years now. Pass coverage at 84. Tackling at 58 because you could still break so many tackles against the CPU. And then we do have the punt power a little higher because, honestly, I recommend when you're going against the AI to just sim punts. I don't know what it is, but if they're inside the 50, that ball is being punted for like 25 yards, if you're lucky. Most of the time, the ball is just, you're starting at the 30-yard line from the 50-yard line on a punt. Like, the punt should be at least the 20, maybe 15-yard line. Never gets there because they try to angle it out, always misses. Put it at 100 punt accuracy, still doesn't change anything. Don't know why that hasn't been fixed. It's just an issue. So 54 for that. Field goal power at 51. Accuracy, probably drop it to. AI is pretty damn accurate. It's the problem with the AI is it's the range. If it's from like 60, they almost always miss. But if it's under like 55, they'll hit every single time. So maybe drop it down to 48, maybe 49. But anyways, those are the sliders I've been running personally. Let me know if you guys have sliders. Maybe you watch the Panther series and you see sliders that you see things you don't like and you have better sliders. Suggest them. I'm not perfect. I mean, these sliders might suck to you, or you've been struggling with sliders and this is the perfect video. It really comes down to what team you're using, what the player overalls are like, and of course your skill level, especially on the kind of user reading situation. If you can't read a defense well, or you panic under pressure, because I panic under pressure on other games, some of these coverage sliders are going to be pretty high for you. But that's just the way I play it. That's the sliders for me. Of course, in a moment here, you're going to see some of the gameplay from it, which I really like. I liked the flow of the game. There was some moments where it's like, oh, I can't believe you didn't hit that, and then the other play is like, oh wow, that's a huge play. It's so. Check that out if you want to. Anyways, again, appreciate you for watching. Hopefully this helped you. If you have any suggestions that can improve these sliders or something you don't like, let me know in the comment section below. And of course, we'll have another video later today, maybe 2, and then a rebuild tomorrow. I was going to do the new series today, but it's going to be on Monday instead. And then one more thing for the actual franchise settings. I do have these for my play call limits. You can change them around if you feel like you need to, but I like to mix it up, and I feel like that forces me to mix it up more than I normally would. But yeah, anyways, on to the gameplay. Hopefully you come back for next video, and until next video, see ya!
Brings up 3rd and 5. First and 10 at the 47-yard line. At the 44-yard line. Brings up 3rd and 3. That's another Steelers first down. Steelers first down. It's a gain of 8. Brings up 2nd and 2. At the 9-yard line. Brings up 3rd down. First and 10 at the 17-yard line.
50, ready?